I'm going to call the meeting to order. And I'm going to ask first that you lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Yes, please. Join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Miranda, would you please take roll call?
Cindy Smith,
Present.
Scott Dorman,
Here.
Ryan Leahy,
Present.
Jeff Robbins,
Here.
John Smith.
Here.
Thank you. Turn now to item number 4 on the agenda, which is the approval of the agenda. And ask all the board members if you all have had an opportunity to review this.
Yes. Yes.
Does anyone have any changes, questions, concerns about the agenda? May I have a motion, please, to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion to approve the agendas. It is.
Motion by board member John Smith to approve. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ryan Leahy. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The motion carried. We're going to turn next to the approval of the minutes. I'm going to just so you know, I know we have public comment next, but we're going to have, this is a public meeting and I'm going to open it to public comment for the budget. I guess if anyone has it, how about this? I'll open it to public comment for anything but the budget, since I am opening it again later to public comment for budget related issues. Does anyone have any comment that they would like to make or raise now at this time that does not relate to the budget? Okay, so then I'll move on to the next item, which is the approval of the minutes from the November 24th, 2025 meeting. And I asked the board members, have all of you had an opportunity to review the minutes from the November 2025 meeting?
Yes.
Has anybody got any comments, concerns, questions, changes to those minutes as presented? Then I would ask then please for a motion to approve the minutes as presented from the November 24th, 2025 board meeting.
I move to approve the meeting minutes for November 24th, 2025.
Okay, motion by Ryan Leahy to approve the minutes from the November 24th, 2025 meeting. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Scott Dorman. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion carried. I think I need to correct too. I think the second on the, my second on the motion to approve the agenda was from Jeff Robbins. Is that right?
Correct.
Not from Ryan Leahy. All right.
Brian thought about it.
He did, I could tell. He must have telepathically communicated to me because I thought it was him. All right, so the conflict of interest disclosures, we have in the board book, the conflict of interest policy, as well as the attached statement that we require of all board members each year. We did it, I know it's a little less than a year, and we did it last May, but I think that it's probably best to do it in conjunction with this process. We'll do it every year at this time going forward. Have you all had an opportunity to look at the policy and associated statement? And are all of you prepared to sign that statement and leave it with the secretary, who is me right now, and with support of Miranda today?
Yes.
All right, we'll do that at the end of the meeting. All right. All right, items of business. I'm going to turn now to item number 8, which is the proposed 2026 budget public hearing. The proposed 2026 budget has been prepared and distributed to the board. The budget was published on November 5th, 2025, and has been available to the public for review since that date. There have been no requests from the public to review the budget or comments or challenges. Chief Jones, I'm going to turn to you now to please provide a brief summary of the proposed 2026 budget.
Sure. Do we have, Ben on?
Ben is on.
Okay.
Then is Ben going to present the
Ben
summary?
will.
Then I'll turn it over to Ben, Archer Close to present the, 2026 proposed budget.
Well, thank you, board chair, members of the board. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Marvelous. I guess it's kind of up to you guys on this one. I know we spent quite a bit of time a couple of weeks ago going over the budget. There really hasn't been any significant changes since that point. We did get our final assessed values from the county, which was a small reduction in our assessed value, which meant that our property tax revenue saw, like I said, a very minor reduction in our property tax. And then the only other two changes that were made since that point was the addition of, if you want to scroll down to the next page, was the addition of the EAP that had been discussed. And then there was a change to our liability insurance that John had got the final quote. And apart from that, everything has remained the same. So I have the PowerPoint that I can go over again with you guys if you would like, or I could just answer any questions. It's really up to you.
I have to apologize for my phone. It's on Do Not Disturb, but evidently Do Not Disturb is not functioning. It's still doing it. Could you take my phone in the other room, please? Somebody, thank you. It's not functioning.
Publisher's clearing off.
They updated.
Somebody just please bury my phone somewhere. All right, are there any questions? All right, so at this time I will open the public hearing on the 2026 budget. And this is the opportunity for the public to provide comments or objections regarding the proposed budget. And Logan, if you didn't hear me, this is your opportunity to provide any comments, questions, concerns, objections to the proposed budget. Are there any?
Hey, Sandy. I have one question.
Yes.
The capital replacement plan. As far as I know, I didn't see a line in there, or maybe there was one, I just missed it. Is there a plan moving forward with that?
Ben, can you answer that question? Did you hear it? There's a
I
question
did
about-
actually. If you could scroll down, actually. By the way, I'm so happy you're in charge of controlling the computer for me. Keep going again. And again. So you'll see a line, I don't know if you can highlight it, but capital funding reserves. And then we also have our reserve funding. So our reserve funding's at the 145. If you see the line slightly above that one, where it says reserve funding 145. That's really money that's going into our reserves. It's pretty self-explanatory to what it is. We're pretty excited of working on the capital improvement plan here at the beginning of the year. But to answer your question, we have that money there that if we needed to spend on capital, we could. And we'll be working on updating the capital improvement plan early next year. So there's 145,675 that's in there for funding reserves currently, but if there are capital needs, that could be used for that.
Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or objections to the proposed budget for 2026? Hearing no further comments, the public hearing is now closed. So we'll now turn to item number 8A, small Roman numeral 4, which is, 3, I guess, consideration and adoption of the 2026 budget. Board members, do you have any questions or proposed changes to the 2026 budget?
Questions?
Okay. If there are no changes, I will entertain a motion to adopt the 2026 budget as presented.
I'll move to adopt the 2026 budget as presented here.
Motion by Jeff Robbins to approve the 2026 proposed budget as presented and seconded by Ryan Leahy. Any further discussion on the proposed 2026 budget? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The motion carried. Okay, we will turn now to, there's a single resolution, not two resolutions, that are to approve the appropriations, the spending authorization, as well as to approve and certify the 2026 mill levy. So both of those are in resolution number 2025-05, which is part of your board book and is entitled Resolution to Adopt Budget. I should make note that there's a typographical error on page 3, where the subcaption is to set mill levies in the very first paragraph. It currently reads, whereas the amount of money from property taxes necessary to balance the budget for general operating expenses is $3,110,980. That number should actually be $1,083,150. That number is actually set forth, the $1,083,150 number is set forth in paragraph 1 of the resolution. Just was a typographical error of some kind. So that with that correction in the whereas clause, we have approval, we have a motion, we need a motion and a adoption of the both appropriations as well as the mill levy as set forth in resolution 2025-05. So I'm going to take those separately, even though they're all part of the same resolution. So I would ask that we approve well, should I do it separately? Yeah, so let's approve the single resolution. I need a motion to approve the 2026 appropriations and to approve and certify the 2026 mill levy as set forth in resolution 2025-05. With respect to the mill levy, this authorizes the district's property tax rate and allows us to file the required DLG-70 form with Larimer County. So again, may I have a motion to approve the appropriations, 2026 appropriations, as well as to approve and certify the 2026 mill levy as set forth in resolution 2025-05 entitled Resolution to Adopt Budget.
I'll make a motion to
What I just
approve
said.
resolution 2025-05, which includes both of those.
Motion by our Vice Chairman Scott Dorman to approve resolution 2025-05 has been made. May I have a second, please? Is there any further discussion that the board wish to have on this motion? Then all in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The motion carried. All right, we'll turn next to the approval of the 2026 notice of regular meeting dates and times. As you probably read, as I'm sure all of you have read it, the notice is that the Board of Directors meetings will be held every fourth Monday at 4:30 p.m. except for the meetings in May and December. The meeting in May will be held on May 18th, 2026, and the meeting in December will be held on December 7th. And they'll all be held here at the fire station as usual. So I need to have an approval of the notice of the regular meeting dates and times summarized as I just made it, but as presented in your board book. May I have that motion, please? Oh, may I have that motion, please? We can discuss it in a minute.
I'll move to approve the notice of regular meetings for 2026 as presented in our board book.
Motion by Jeff Robbins to approve the notice of regular meetings for 2026 as presented. May I have a second, please?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Board Member Don Smith. Any discussion about the notice of the regular meeting dates and times for 2026?
I just wanted, if we could explain why the two dates are different in May and
Yes, in May, the fourth Monday is Memorial Day. And in December, we're trying to schedule it around the budget. And if we can, because the budget needs to be submitted to the county by December 15th, and we want to have a week just in case there's some comments, changes, objections, things like that. And if we do need to have another meeting in December, as we will this month, which you will see when we get to it later, then we can always do that.
okay, perfect. I just. Everybody understand.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion on the table? Then all in favor of approving the 2026 notice of regular meeting dates and times as presented?
I'll
Say
make a
aye.
motion. Aye.
Yeah.
Say, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. We already had the motion. I just did the discussion a little later than usual. All right. All right, so Chief Thomas, I understand you may not yet have something to discuss with us regarding the potential to create a new position, temporary part-time operations manager position. Is that correct?
That is correct. I have some questions and I have some information for you.
Okay, well, please, I'll turn it over to you.
I guess I've been asked quite a few times, like, is this another position on top of backfilling essentially the training officer position? In my understanding, it will be backfilling the training officer position for an interim time period. Is that correct understanding? There's not two positions.
It's actually two positions. It is a separate position from the training position. It's like an operations management position that we were hoping to fill with somebody, well, that, as I understand the proposal, Ryan, maybe somebody from the volunteer force, but
Sure.
since Ryan raised the issue to begin with, I'll have him explain it further.
My thoughts on that were, I know that the chief relies on a lot of the volunteers for a lot of things in the operations side, because at that point he didn't have a chief, but even if he does have a chief, there's still a lot where it falls on to the shoulders of the captains and lieutenants, the officers in the operations side. I was hoping to have somebody that you guys could lean on the volunteer side without having to feel like they're not being compensated for the added effort or time. So that way they could kind of liaison between the volunteers and the paid staff. Well, they'd be a paid staff at that point, but in the interim temporary status, that way we can, as things need to be done, maybe that aren't in the normal workings of a department that isn't going through some changes. You can lean on the volunteers a little bit harder without feeling like you're overburdening them in a volunteer position. Also, it gives one of the maybe the lieutenants or the captains the opportunity kind of work a little closer with the chief. We have him here, and while these changes come about, so they can have a little more input in that process without being burdened with volunteer status.
I think you were talking about part-time.
Part-time, yep. Yeah.
Okay, that helps me clarify a little bit. I wasn't thinking about that at all whatsoever.
Okay.
Well, we're going to have another meeting on December 22nd, so you have some time.
I see that. That's a totally different thought process than what I was having.
I gotta say, I see the confusion in your face, and I'm a little confused too, because I thought we were moving him up to chief of ops, and we were looking for somebody to temporarily take over training.
And that was
That's
where my
how I
mind was at.
That's why.
Yeah,
No, that's not what I meant to propose. If I wasn't clear on that, I'm sorry.
okay,
My understanding is we're going to backfill the training position at some point through the regular process, but I was hoping to get a volunteer in here to have some input in this process. And to be more engaged in this process, maybe outside that, without burdening them on the volunteer, just being a volunteer. Sometimes when they're a volunteer, people say, you know, they do enough already, or we've already asked a lot of them in a volunteer status, and maybe we can take care of it ourselves. I know with a lot of transitions happening, maybe some open positions, it'd be good to have some volunteers in here to get their input as well, maybe liaison through them. That's my thoughts.
I would like to say this is something I think Chief Jones and Chief Thomas should discuss and come back to us whether there's even a need for it.
Sure.
And they're the ones that.
I think that's what we had sent them off to do, but I think something got lost in translation, and so maybe they could return to us and tell us if in fact they think this is a good idea, and if so, if not, why not, and if so, why, and who, and what would you like to do?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
Makes
definitely a proposal for discussion, not a proposal to hire.
right. So the idea was to discuss it today, but I think we had such a busy meeting last time and we had so many things on the table. It is very understandable that this wasn't clear. So please don't worry that it wasn't clear, because it's not, I don't think it was clear to all of us either. So do you think you have enough clarity now for you and Chief Jones to maybe discuss this and decide what you ought to do?
The chief says yes, so I'll go with yes.
The two chiefs say yes, then, okay. All right, is there anything else anyone would like to discuss on this subject? All right, Chief Jones, I understand we're probably not gonna have a series of reports, given that we just had a series of reports very recently, but I will turn it over to you in case, for what you think excuse me, so I'm gonna recognize, Board Member Smith for just a moment.
I do want to back up a little to that last thing. I don't think that we need to hire. I think we need to look for somebody in the interim for the trainer position and not go farther than that with hiring more people, because I think right now there's a question, maybe not a question, but the training position is what we're looking at. If I'm wrong, correct me, Chief, but I think that's kind of what we talked about was, you know, I mean, because if we have an empty spot to fill a spot below, it doesn't really make sense. To me, anyway. I think that obviously you guys are gonna discuss this and decide what's best for everything, and I understand that, and I think it is you guys' job to do that, but I don't think opening another position when one's empty is really
I think that was kind of my idea of
Good.
why
Yeah.
to do it, because we have so many open positions.
right.
So rather than hire somebody long-term, have a permanent position, we can have a volunteer instead of relying them further on a
Right.
volunteer to give them some compensation for some added hours to put in while we kind of settle out on some of the positions that are open.
So like an interim
Yeah,
training.
just temporary,
Person.
like temporary part-time. I'm not talking
Right.
about full-time. And specifically, I'd like to see it fulfilled by a volunteer that already has the knowledge of being here and the processes. And like I said, just instead of burdening them further, I've seen it a lot where people will say, well, they're volunteers and we don't want to burden them anymore. They already give so much.
Right.
So maybe if somebody has that time to give, compensate them for that time and allow them to have to backfill some of the openness that is there. On a
I
temporary.
think we're kind of
status.
saying the same thing, just on a different note.
Yeah,
I'm saying put them in that intern, just call it an interim training officer position. And then they're there part-time until we fill the spot,
Well, I
or maybe
suppose-
they're the ones that fill the spot, I don't know,
I
but,
suppose the title of it doesn't really matter. If
Right.
you call it an interim training and then transfer it to a
okay.
We'll bring back,
long-term training.
well,
Yeah.
I know Chris is meeting with the officers tomorrow night at the regular officer meeting, so I think there's time to process this over the next couple weeks and we'll bring you back. Either we think we ought to do it or we don't think we ought to do it. We think we ought to do it. Here's kind of what we think. So let us bring back that. This
Yeah.
helps, this discussion helps us get, but I think, my direction to Chris is to get that full-time training officer filled as soon as you possibly can.
Sure.
Get that going. And then this other part-time position is kind of in add-on. So we'll see where to go with that.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to hearing from you on December 22nd on that subject. Any further discussion on that topic before I move on? No? Any? Okay.
Okay, reports, as we did last month, I'd like to defer and kind of do cleanup, kind of that cleanup. At the end, you're correct, we don't have a lot of reports today, I think Chris may have something. I don't think Justin has anything, John may have some, and then I'll follow up with a few minor things.
All right, thank you. So Captain Thomas. I'm sorry, Chief Thomas.
As far as training, hazmat's almost done. We have written testing on Saturday, this coming up Saturday, and then learning and testing the JPRs next week, so that'll finish up essentially Fire One Academy. I know it's a separate portion, but we'll be finishing that up next week. Or I'm sorry, the week after that. Department training hazmat refresher this week, the Christmas party's next week. Training calendar has gone out to the officer group, and we're gonna discuss that tomorrow at the officer meeting. Just personal note, I'm pretty excited. We're doing a little different location this year for the swim test. We've been building a partnership with Eagle Rock School. We've been able to do some wildland training out there, and honest truth is I had no idea they had a ginormous pool out there. But we ran a call there this year and they said, well, you guys, we have this huge pool, you can use it for training if you need. So I was able to connect the dots there. So I'm pretty excited about that, just kind of building more of that partnership. That kind of started a few years ago with a community organization. So that's pretty exciting. I'm going to be attending the Colorado Fire Training Officer meeting on Thursday morning at Adams County Fire. It's something that we go to every other month, quarterly. I don't remember which it is, but we finish up the year down at Adams County Fire. Meeting of all the training officers in the state of Colorado, and great connections there, and able to get resources and knowledge and everything else that way. So I'm looking forward to that. As far as operations, our last round of SCBA bottles is in Greeley right now, getting tested. So by Thursday, they will be back, and all of our frontline bottles will be back in service and tested. So that's exciting, something that kind of was in neutral, and then put it in fifth gear and made it happen. I did want to reiterate the amount of work the auxiliary team is putting out. Just as an example, to bring the bottles down and drop them off, it's an hour and a half of driving each way. So it's 6 hours of driving to go down, drop them off, come back up, go down, pick them up, bring them back up. And then they've been putting in more than 3 hours per trip, filling them up when they come back up. So again, super thrilled with the work they've been putting in, and just kind of pointing out the value to all of you, if you were unaware, with the amount of labor that they're putting in. So they're using it as a training for all of them so that they know how to use our cascade system. If we have a large incident, they're ready, willing, and able to fill bottles for us as we're going. Also, Lieutenant Burkwalski has been coordinating the bottle removal from the apparatus. You have to empty them out before you haul them, roll them up. So I just wanted to make that known. He's done all 3 rounds of this. He's been the battalion officer all 3 weekends. I don't even know if, I was gonna say, I don't even know if any of those were your weekend. One of them was his weekend. The other 2 he was covering. But on that note, I've spoken with Lieutenant Burkwalski about a handful of projects and proposals he has submitted over the last few months / years. That have never had any kind of reply or resolution to them. So again, Chief's been talking about making sure anything that fell through the cracks is getting addressed, so that when we bring a new full-time chief on, it's a clean slate. Like, here's where we're at, and we're moving forward from here. So just, I'm gonna be going over some of these with Chief Jones, or resolving them within the operations division. Examples, the drone program, post-fire air monitoring, the apparatus replacement budgeting schedule, some member reimbursement suggestions, etc. Is what we've been going through. I met with him this past week just to make sure that I was putting eyes and had an understanding of things that he's been either tasked with or has brought to former staff members that never got addressed. And this is for you, Jeff. I have a meeting tomorrow with the auxiliary member who will be operating the mask fit testing machine.
Right.
We're gonna be looking at a timeline for getting the machine calibrated and what elements need to be gathered to get the machine in service and begin the testing process.
Good.
So all those things that you guys have brought up are at the top of the list. We are making it happen. I have the SOP that we currently have. I think it needs to be revamped. So we'll be looking at that, but the goal is to get the machine in service, get the testing to happen, so that we can be in compliance with that even before I have the SOP revamped.
Right. Good.
There you go. That's what I got.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chief
Chris.
Thomas.
John, do you have anything? Yeah, I had one thing.
Yes, please, go ahead.
I just want to take this opportunity. Xavier Matthews submitted his resignation. His last day will be December 18th, I believe it is. I just want to publicly thank him for the work he's done on the mitigation crew and helping us try to develop this new program. So good luck to him in the future. He's got an adventure coming up he can tell you about, but we appreciate all the work.
Can you tell us briefly about the adventure?
Going to Thailand.
Well, that's
Muay
good.
Thai,
Learn Thai, you said?
for Muay Thai, it's a martial art.
From Muay Thai.
Okay, yeah.
That's awesome. How long will you be there?
Month, 3 months, don't know. See how it goes.
Oh, how fun it is to be young. Thank you, and really thank you for your service, and I hope you really enjoy your time in Thailand.
Justin, do you have anything?
I don't, I apologize. I thought we gave reports in the last meeting of the month, so, and I didn't realize there was.
It's really okay. This is a very brief, if there's anything to catch up on kind of report.
I will be better prepared.
Thank you.
Okay, well then I'll go ahead and back clean up here. I think a few days ago, late last week, I processed the paperwork for Chris's promotion into his interim role. And as you can see, he's hit the ground running. He's doing a great job so far. And I'm really excited to, have both of our divisions with leadership now, with John in support and prevention, now with Chris in operations. We can move forward with some projects as you see. Our folks do wonderful work, and a great job and have a huge amount of dedication. And I'm just an honor to be here and part of all this work that they're doing. But as you can see, if you got a leadership role empty, things kind of grind. And as you can see, just having somebody in that position, bringing, what Chris brings to the table makes those things happen. So I'm real grateful to have you, Chris, and looking forward to working with you over the next several months, as far as I can see. So congratulations on that. I want to also thank our budget committee members, Ryan Leahy and Scott Dorman, as well as Ben, our accountant, as well as John, who's been doing a huge amount of work on the budget. One of the best demonstrations of good staff work is to get into a board meeting where there's no questions. To me, that's the way it's supposed to work. So thank you all for being part of that. I'm hoping that maybe in the first quarter of next year, we can kind of get together the budget committee and talk about how this budget process went and start thinking about next year and how we roll out the process for next year. We are starting, or on Monday, we will have folks here from Colorado Resource Services to do our administrative assessment on Monday, and they'll be working with mostly myself and Miranda, as well as we'll be talking to John and Chris. So we get a better feel of where we are with our administrative and business services. So we hope to have then a report from them that we'll bring back to your board meeting agenda about how we do, and then that'll help us move forward with our administrative function the same way as we're moving forward with operations. And then after that, we move forward, we're looking at prevention services that certainly John and Stacy provide, as well as our wildfire risk reduction program. So we're moving in all those things. So I'm looking forward to having that. The reorganization subcommittee is meeting Wednesday morning, and that involves Ryan and Sandy. So we'll be working with that. And I know that Chris and John have already been talking about how they can rearrange some of the stuff that happens in their divisions. There are three things that I've told the committee that I want to talk about. One is that
we move all the administrative functions under the fire chief and not have a separate administrative function with the chief of staff that we've had in the past. The other one is to move some of the stuff that John has done a fantastic job with taking care of all of our stuff. John is our stuff guy. Moving some of that over to Chris, so that frees up John's time for really focusing on the mitigation and the wildfire risk reduction programs that we have, which is getting to be a bigger thing all the time. I met with the deputy town administrator today, and that was half the stuff that he wanted to talk about. You know, so it's a big deal in this community. As far as the new chief process goes, we have 2 RFPs in already, and Hippie and Scott, let's see if we can come up with a date to meet next week. I'll send you any of that come in. They're supposed to be here about 5 o'clock on Friday. So I will send those to you at the end of business on Friday. You can take a look at them, and then we meet sometime next week and you can kind of look at them. And then we'll bring back the committee will bring back a recommendation to the full board on the 22nd of this month to get going. You might want to, they've given us some, I've already noticed they've got references in there, so you guys might want to, you know, do a little research on the references and that area. You already mentioned Xavier, and congratulations on your thing. I was telling Xavier earlier today that when I was his age, I think we were already having kids. in my family, and didn't get a chance to do all that fun stuff you can do when you're young. So congratulations and have a great experience out there and a great life.
Thank you.
This is new, and I have not talked to staff about it yet, so you're gonna hear it first time tonight. Is something that Sandy and I were talking about doing next year, is to building into within your agenda every month a mini briefing. Maybe 15 minutes of something that's going on in the district, that you have a better idea of what we do. And I think the first one we'll do, Justin, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, is a little briefing on our auxiliary program, what our auxiliary folks do. And again, it's not we're asking for policy guidance or anything. It's just telling you what we do and giving you an idea. And then we'll talk about some operations things. We'll talk about some fire prevention things. Like, for instance, Stacy has been telling me all about the short-term rentals and how that works and how that impacts her workload, and how, because that's a big deal in this community. I think there's 1,200 short-term rentals in the county, and 1,000 of them are here in the Estes Valley.
That's correct.
So it's a big deal for us. So think about things that you may want us to talk about, and we'll schedule them out. So you have 12 of them next year.
And I would encourage you also, all of you, to include people who report to you to perhaps come in and
absolutely.
talk as well. So it doesn't have to be, the onus doesn't have to be entirely on each of you to come in all the time and do this, but Stacy could come in and talk about the item you just discussed. And there are other people, I'm sure Ron can come in and talk about what he does. I think that is really helpful to our board to get a deeper understanding of what everyone in the department does, why it's important, and just how involved it is, because I think a lot of us just don't know. So very helpful.
So be looking forward to that. We'll start out that in January, and it'll be, I'm looking forward to it. The last thing I have is one of the things we're gonna kick off here in January. It's on my list that's out before you now, is the starting to get around to the community and chatting with folks through the service clubs and other organizations. I've already got some contacts, and I'll be doing that myself mostly. I'm working on my 15-minute elevator speech to talk to people in the community about what we do and what good work our folks do, and what our kind of some of the directions we're moving towards in the future. So if any of you have groups you would like me to contact and talk to, go ahead and contact me. I know there's the service clubs in towns, but there's probably others as well. Realtor groups and all that kind of stuff. So if you have any that you would like me to get on that list, just send me an email anytime or give me a call. With that, that's all I've got to share.
Thank you, Chief Jones. All right, we don't have any items listed under item 10, unfinished or old business. And item number 11, new business. Do any board members have any new business they want to raise at this time? I do potentially, Chief and I have discussed at length, well, a little bit about the potential for extending his interim period, as chief. And this is something I would like the subcommittee to consider when you guys meet this week. And I know you and I have had talk about it, and I've discussed it with some of the board members one at a time to see if it's something that we could put onto the agenda for December 22nd. I would like to see a period of 2 years potentially with you here, because I think you are doing a fabulous job. I think we all do. I would like to hear from everybody in the department as well, to the extent I think you'll send an email out, and anybody who has any input they want to make onto the subject of whether or not this is a good idea, please feel free to be frank, send the email to me. I will be taking any emails, input, any of that, and we'll present those to the board as well on December 22nd when we discuss this. To the extent we do discuss it, I want you guys as a subcommittee to present that as an option if you decide it is in fact an option. Okay.
Matt, what do you say, subcommittee with Scott?
Scott and Hippie, correct. You'll be meeting with them this week on RFPs, which may or may not become superfluous depending on what the presentation is going to be on December 2nd. But I wanted to raise that as an item of new business. Anyone have any comments on that? Okay. Announcements. Our next regularly scheduled meeting was not going to be until January, but now it is going to be on December 22nd. I'm putting that back on the calendar. Can all of you please check? I think I've talked to a couple of you. I don't think anybody had a problem with it, but if anybody has a problem with that, can you please make sure you let me know right away if he's giving me the look? Because it'll be a short meeting. I know a lot of us have family here. I will too. But I think we need to discuss this issue of the RFPs, and or the possibility of extending Chief Jones's interim period, and also Chief Thomas is going to come back to us with potentially a proposal regarding this other position. Anyone not available on the 22nd?
I'll be remote, but I'm available.
Okay. Okay. All right, we're all good. So the next regularly scheduled meeting is Monday, December 22nd at 4:30 p.m. Are there any further issues to be discussed? Comments from board members?
I know that we have a Christmas party coming up.
It's Tuesday, the 16th,
What time?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Santa
Tuesday,
will
the
be here at
16th.
7.
I'm sorry.
Santa will be here at 7.
Santa is going to be here at 7, everybody. Okay, there's a December 16th at 6 p.m. Christmas party, and you can sit on Santa's lap and ask all for your presents at 7 o'clock, or starting at 7. You'll probably have to stand in line with the kids. All right, is there anything else anyone wants to announce, discuss? With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion by board member Smith to adjourn the meeting. I'm the one doing the minutes, so I am helping myself by announcing your name when I do this.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Ryan Leahy. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carried. The meeting is adjourned.